world-renowned for its ancient ruins. It's been getting a new reputation in international circles in the last few years as the fastest growing emerging market in Latin America. It's this economic edginess that made it a natural host for the 2015 annual meetings of the IMF World Bank. Lima is only the first Latin American city to host the international meetings in the last 50 years. These meetings come mere weeks after the United Nations agreed to 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Naturally, these SDGs, the hot topic on everyone's agenda. For the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, at our second Caribbean Region Dialogue held during the annual meetings, we focused on our international relations work and found new ways to go about financing the achievement of these SDGs. Let's take a look.
The Caribbean Region Dialogue, its main purpose is to really deepen the engagement of the Caribbean with the G20, which, as you know, is the most powerful economic group in the world. And by deepening that engagement, we get the opportunity to let our voices be heard with respect to major international financial issues, how those issues affect the region, and what should be the type of policy responses the region should be engaging with. CBTT has taken up a leadership role for the Caribbean in terms of championing how we can finance the Sustainable Development Goals. At the second CRD, we focus on two key SDGs. One is the blue economy, and the second is around resilient infrastructure. And we had presentations from distinguished speakers who are world-renowned on those two key issues. And coming out from the meeting, it was clear that we need to look at engaging, in a sense, the new kid on the block. That is the New Development Bank, which is essentially known as the BRICS Bank. That the region has to find a way to engage this bank early on so that you might be able to obtain the type of funding and financing that's needed to build out resilient infrastructure and to develop your Caribbean blue economy.
It's an honor to be invited to speak at the second Caribbean Regional Dialogue, and I have to thank Governor Rambaran for extending this invitation to me. NDB is now just about 2 months old. These 2 months, we have started writing our policy framework, which will be done in the next few weeks. And we hope that we will do our first loans sometime early next year. NDB, in a way, would think epitomizes the aspirations of the South. The aspirations of the South in the context of wanting to stand on their own feet. And clearly, to me, the Caribbean region will be a very important partner going ahead. I think this is in close proximity to one of our member states, and indeed, in a larger context, in today's world, we are all, very near. We are not. We may be separated by distance, but in terms of connectivity, we are all together.
This regional dialogue really allows, Seychelles, we're not from the Caribbean, but when we look at the Caribbean, we do see ourselves. We see the same challenges that we face. And it's very important that we come up with innovative solutions that we can propose to the multilateral development institutions. So what I think has come out from today is really options that we can tell to our partners in the multilateral development institutions to say, this is the best way to support us. So work with us to make this happen. And this is ever more crucial because we're facing the challenge of climate change, which fundamentally undermines a lot of our existing economic models. Tourism is not going to be viable if we can't build resilience against climate change, for example. So I think this kind of dialogue is essential and allows us to better work with the multilateral development institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. If you can't make an island economy like Trinidad or like Seychelles, if you can't make an economy of that scale sustainable, then there's no hope either for the bigger countries. So I think we really have an opportunity in the sense that Our challenges are epitomizing the spirit of the age. If you ask somebody on the street in the world, if you ask a global citizen, what's your biggest concern? They will say things like climate change, and these are fundamental to our models of development. So I think we underestimate the power of our voice, actually, and I think this kind of initiative helps us to really focus our message.
Well, first of all, I think this important initiative that the governor of the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago has initiated is important because it really attracts a number of experts, in addition to policymakers, central bankers, ministers from the region. And I think it is really a way of developing a shared consensus on how Caribbean economies should overcome some of their challenges, say the small size, the need to develop more environmentally sustainable economies, especially given their intrinsic vulnerability.
Well, I think it's a very good initiative to bring all the Caribbean leaders together so that we can discuss those matters which are of importance to us as a region. The Caribbean Forum and the discussion we had today, I think, has set charted a course which we have to follow, and that is to speak with one voice, as it were, to the multilateral financing agencies so that they could see that the Caribbean region needs to have access to financing to provide the type of infrastructure, to provide the type of investment for long-term growth so that our people can have a good quality of life.
I'm extremely pleased to be here today. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Governor to you again, and also for the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago for organizing this very, very important event. The relationship between the Caribbean members and the fund has been improved and strengthened. I'm extremely happy to see that, and also I feel I'm more and more become part of a Caribbean community now. We are so happy and pleased, Governor, on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago Central Bank, has offered financing for a special program. The program is IMF program called External Financed and Secondary Program. So with this program, we will be able to receive the officials from the region to come to IMF to work as a staff for 2 years and get training, get experience, know the IMF policy framework, and familiarize with the fund policy. I think this is very important. We have a very small program, but we are willing to expand this program, particularly for Caribbean, for this group. And we are extremely pleased and also happy and appreciate the governor willing to provide finance for this program. I would like to emphasize one more. This program is not only for Trinidad and Tobago. This is for all the members in the region. We're going to form, I will call, small states external financing secondary program. Caribbean will be part of that. So we start with Caribbean.
This initiative, which is a landmark initiative, is one that allows the Caribbean to better understand the workings of the IMF. We've been interacting with the IMF for more than 30, 40 years in the region. We've had the fund coming in and speaking with respect to what we call surveillance, which is meeting the governments, meeting the central banks, and finding out what's happening in the economy. We've been negotiating programs with the IMF. We've also been benefiting from technical assistance. Yet, despite all these various forms of relationships, what we've found is that the region still doesn't understand how the IMF thinks and how it operates. And what this initiative will do is to give Caribbean nationals an opportunity to actually work side by side with IMF staff members, where they visit countries, where they negotiate programs with countries, so that they themselves now start to understand, in a sense, what is the true nature of this institution.
It's a very significant initiative to have Caribbean nationals trained at the IMF in a lot of the public accounting issues.